Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Super excited to have Ed Fernandez on the show here. He is the president, CEO, founder of 1031 Crowdfunding. Welcome to the show, Ed. Super excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's a pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool. By way of backgrounds, I practiced commercial real estate law for a number of years, so I understand what 1031 exchanges are and all those types of things. But maybe for our audience that isn't familiar, maybe kind of start there. What is 1031 crowdfunding? What is the business? How did it come to be? And what does 1031 mean?
Sure. So let's start with 1031s, right? So
All right.
1031 is a way for investors that own investment property to defer their taxes. It's been around forever and a little tricky to do. So, you basically have 45 days to try to find something, an additional 135 days to close. We call it swap until you drop. So as long as you keep swapping and swapping, and you drop, your heirs will get everything tax free. So that's 1031 exchanges in a nutshell. And so what we do as a company, so 1031 crowdfunding, you can think of us as a shopping mall, right? So our platform, which is a website, has a bunch of different storefronts, and then those storefronts, they attract different customers. So if I want to go buy a pair of shoes, I go to the shoe store. If I want a shirt, I'll buy a shirt at a different store. So on our platform, we have apartments, senior housing, student housing, self-storage, industrial, you name it, is on our website. And so an investor that's tired of either dealing with the tenants, the toilets, and the trash, or they run out of that 45-day ID period, they can literally buy a piece of an institutional quality property
Huh.
through what's called a Delaware Statutory Trust, or DST. And so they come to our shopping mall, they go to the different storefronts, and they can say, oh, I want some apartments, or I want some student housing or senior housing or self-storage, literally diversify themselves, get monthly cash flow because all the properties are stabilized while still being in a 1031 exchange situation. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
No, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. And how did you come to start that? How'd that come to be?
That's crazy. So, I'm a man of God. I love Jesus. You said,
Man.
hey, everything is good to go. But I was working for a guy for about 14 years, doing what we do now, but you couldn't do it online because back in 2012, a new law came out called the Jobs Act. And that law allowed guys that create products like ours to use the internet to do so. But previously to that, you couldn't do that. So most of the time, those products were distributed through the independent broker-dealer channel like LPL or Lincoln Financial Advisors. And so guys like us would get our product on that platform, and then financial advisors would sell that product to their clients. But when the Jobs Act came back out, I didn't have to do that. I can circumvent that entire process. And instead of going to Merrill Lynch and having their guy sell my deal, I can go to Mr. and Mrs. Bob Smith
Uh-huh.
directly and have them sell the deal. So in my prayer closet, I was praying because the company that I was with fell apart. And, God told me, hey, in 7 days, the wall fall down. I went back into my prayer closet and God gave me the name 1031 crowdfunding. So I ran downstairs, didn't even know what the heck crowdfunding was, started Googling it and came to realize, shoot, I've been doing this for 14 years, but you can do it online. And that's how I started the company with $60,000 out of my garage. 10 years later, we've done $3.5 billion.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, so that's how it
Congratulations.
started.
Talk about a blessing. That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Are properties all across the US or where like physically where are
Yeah,
they located?
so we're nationwide. So we're a sponsor, right? So we create our own products and we create them in the senior housing space. And so we have 17 properties right now in 9 different states. But then we also offer third-party products or companies that are very similar to us that may do apartments or hospitality or self-storage, which we don't dabble in because we're experts in senior housing.
Okay.
So when we give a third-party product, we act as a broker. When we actually distribute our product, we now act as the sponsor.
Okay. No, very
And
good.
that's how we give the variety, right? We give the inventory of going to different storefronts. We don't want to be experts in all asset classes. We just want to be an expert in what we do. And then we allow the experts in the other asset classes to do what they do.
Oh, very good. Maybe
Yeah.
chat a little bit since your expertise is the senior housing. Maybe chat a little bit about just that industry and trend.
Oh,
I
that's a
mean,
big deal. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's senior housing is like a mechanic, right? You always need a mechanic to fix your car. Well, when you get old, where do you go, right? You need a place to live, right? Most of the time, you can't just be independent based on your age. And so senior housing, like next year, there's a term called the silver tsunami that's coming,
Huh.
and it's the baby boomers turning 80 years old.
Wow.
So 10,000 people every single day will turn 80 years old. And
Jeez.
we need 800,000 additional units built from now to 2030 to handle that influx of people. And with interest rates being where they're at, construction has literally stopped. So the demand is so high, but the supply is very, very low. And that's why we like that asset type.
Yeah, that's a huge trend. Wow.
Yeah, that's a
It is a
lot of
silver
people
tsunami.
coming.
That's for real.
That's a lot of people. And that's just, that doesn't count the 70-year-old or the 72-year-old or the 75-year-old. That's just the 80-year-old. So just not enough senior housing to handle the wave.
That's incredible. So how do you source your deals, or how are you finding more senior housing product?
So the previous company that I worked for, a lot of my pillar guys here and gals worked with me. So
Okay.
when the company collapsed, they all came. And so we've been doing senior housing for 18 years. Even though the company's only been around for 10, we have been working together for 18 years. So people know who we are. And so they know we're buyers, and they know that we execute when we actually put an offer in. So we get off market deals all the time. So inventory is not hard. Sourcing deals is not hard.
No, that's good. Very good. How about maybe chat a little bit about, we talk a lot on this show about just building culture and core values, and you said you're a
Sure.
man of God. Maybe talk a little bit about the culture you've created and how you describe it.
Yeah. So I don't care how many plaques you have and how many degrees you have. It's important, right? If you want to be in accounting, it's important if you want to be an analyst right here. But what's most important is the culture. So I have an employee handbook. And in that employee handbook, it says, we serve our Lord Jesus Christ. We have a prayer room, right? And we pray in
Huh.
our prayer room. And that's in the employee handbook. And in order to work here, you got to sign off on that employee handbook and say, I'm okay with that. That creates a certain culture, right? The culture
Mhm.
here is family. My wife is my COO.
Huh.
My daughter is my executive assistant. My son does all my audio video. I got my niece here. I got my nephew here. I got brother and sister working here, husband and wife working here. They bring their kids here when they can't have a babysitter and the kids are playing in their offices. So the culture is family. If you
Yes.
don't fit that, and look, you don't have to be a believer to work here, but you do need to be a family member. Because we all have family members that are not believers and we still love them,
Right. Right.
right? So they're a family member that we love. Just be part of the family, and
Yeah.
you'll fit the culture.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How is the dynamic of having so many, literal family members in the
Oh,
business?
working with my wife. I've been married almost 29 years now,
Oh, God bless you.
and
That's amazing.
yeah, and she, when she came on board, she's the honey that attracts the bees. I'm a horrible manager, right? I can't deal with personalities and HR things. And
Yeah.
she does a very, very good job in that. And ever since she came on board, we grew by 422%, making us in Inc. magazine.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's no joke. So
Yeah.
she's on the other side of the building, right? She has her big giant office over there. I have mine, and we're so busy, we rarely even see each other during the day. And then we come in at separate times. So when I get home and then she gets home, it's like we're not seeing each other all day. Hey,
Yeah.
honey, how's your day? How's your day? So that dynamic works. And then as far as my children and my nieces and my nephews, they're held to a higher standard, right? They're
Yeah.
just not just because they're family, they don't just get to skate. They're actually required to even perform even better than just a normal employee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
remarkable.
It's a really cool, I got my land shark down here, Avor, my dog. He comes, hangs out with us too. So it's a great place. We try to make it a place where people just want to come to work.
Yeah. Oh, that's very, very good. How about just general just leadership? Any particular, or maybe how has your definition of leadership or your approach like evolved over time?
It's crazy. In the very beginning, I was a tyrant.
Hmm.
The very beginning, I would illustrate power through strength. But as time has gone by, as being the leader, being an irrational, undisciplined individual, you're not going to have people follow you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And strength is knowing you have power, but don't necessarily need to use that power. And so what I've learned over the years is that a lot more is said by not using your power than
Uh-huh.
using your power, right? And so, my employees here, and that's where my wife comes in because my wife makes me look really good all the time. She goes, you
Yeah.
know what? So I practice with her sometimes, like I want to do a heads of department meeting, and I said, this is what I'm going to say. And she'll like, you cannot say that. You cannot say that. Do not say that. Yada, yada, yada. So I've learned a lot how to be a leader. I've always kind of been a leader, but I've been a loud leader. You don't necessarily need to be loud to be a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very good.
Yeah.
That kind of maybe touches on my next question, which is just a leadership lesson that you've learned that's been particularly valuable for you. And maybe that's definitely one right there.
Work ethic.
Hmm.
Um, I'm I'm a CEO. Most of the time, the perception of a CEO is they're sitting in the skybox watching the football game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm 56 years old. I'm not ready to sit in the skybox yet. I'm on the field blocking and tackling.
Uh-huh.
So I don't leave my desk for lunch. I eat my lunch here, and I still talk to investors every day. And so I do that to show my employees that they're going to never work harder than me. I've got
Uh-huh.
employees that work very, very hard, but I try to set the standard. And as far as a leader, if I set the bar of expectation this high, I've got to learn how to jump over that bar as well. A narcissist will set the bar
Huh.
and not jump over the bar,
Yeah.
right? That's a narcissist. I don't want
Uh-huh.
to be a narcissist, so I always try to jump over the bar that I set.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, for those listening and not watching this on YouTube, I mean, this Ed looks like he could be on the field blocking and tackling in the NFL right now. I mean, no
Yes.
doubt.
Yes. A lot of lotions and potions.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's awesome. How about like servant leadership? How does that play into your philosophy and
All boats rise when the tide comes in.
mm,
Um, our goal, my wife and I's goal, is to create millionaires for the kingdom of God so that they can take dominion over the earth for the glory of God.
yeah.
My God is not a poor God. Okay. What's so funny? When I was poor and I was following God, I tried to learn humility. How are you going to be humble? Right. What I learned is you don't need to be humble when you're poor. There's nothing to be humble about. But when you're driving an exotic car, you're flying private planes, there's a lot of stuff that bubbles up inside of you that you don't realize they're there.
Uh-huh.
And it really causes you to actually learn how to be meek and humble,
Yeah.
right? So my point is that here for the company, my wife and I want to make sure that every single employee has opportunities to live a life that is supernatural, not natural. That's
Mm,
the goal of this company.
that's amazing.
Oh man, boy, I'm fired up. Let me start preaching because I'm gonna
Yeah,
start preaching pretty soon.
that's awesome. How about investment strategies? I mean, you obviously talked about you have certain expertise and you're bringing in other expertise for product class, but any particular, strategies that have proven most effective in identifying and like capitalizing on high growth opportunities for for the
Yeah,
business?
and that's going to be tied to the current environment, right? So before, prior to interest rate environment increasing, we were focusing on stabilized assets, right? So cap rates were, we could buy things still at eight cap and still do okay. But then when interest rates environment started increasing, no one was selling because no one wants to get rid of their trophy interest rate, right? To go
Right.
jump into some crazy interest rate. So stabilized assets became very difficult. And so we started a relationship with Freddie and Fannie.
Hmm.
And even though the news is not, uh, you know, talking about this stuff, people are giving back their properties just because of the refinancing, right?
Sure.
They hit their 10-year term, they got to refinance, the numbers don't work. You either throw good money in a bad deal or give the keys back, right?
Yeah.
What we found is that we're finding people giving the keys back. So what we're doing now is we're buying assets where the bank just wants, these are not portfolio lenders. They service the debt. They don't want the property. They just want their money back.
Right.
But what we're doing is we're getting properties, paying off, giving them their debt, but the appraised value is 40% greater than what the debt was.
Yeah.
And it's at 50% occupancy. So if I get it to 80%, 85% occupancy, I'm hitting the ball out of the park. And so that's what we're going after now, due to the fact that the environment today with interest rates where they're at allow you to take advantage of that strategy. Now, with the Feds cutting rates by 50 basis points, and we think they're going to continue, especially now we got this strike. Hopefully that this strike doesn't go on long. We're
Right.
losing $5 billion a day. If this thing keeps going on, inflation is going to just keep going, and the
Uh-huh.
Feds are going to have to just keep dropping. Well, then that's going to take us back into more stabilized assets, right? Because now people are going to be able to refinance their assets. But from now till 2026, I think we got 1.4 trillion of loans coming due here pretty soon.
Yeah.
There's still going to be a blood in the streets.
I know.
So that's where we're going to take advantage.
Yeah.
That's our so good times, low interest rates, stabilized assets. High interest rates, people don't want to can't refinance. We're opportunistic type people. We're going to go after those assets.
No, that's very good. How about just like challenges in the market? What are some of the biggest challenges that you're facing now or have faced, and how do you think about
We're coming
overcoming
out of
those?
COVID,
Yeah.
right? So the asset types that were hit drastically with COVID was senior housing, student housing, and hospitality, right? No one was traveling, no one was going to school, and old people were dying,
Yeah.
right? And so we're now coming out of COVID where properties and our asset types are starting to get back to the stabilization that they were pre-COVID.
Uh-huh.
And so those have been the challenges, and the products that we do, which are Delaware Statutory Trusts, DSTs, as a sponsor, you can't. There's not a lot of levers to move within that structure to keep the structure very conservative. So you can't have capital calls, you can't refinance, you can't renegotiate leases, and so in bad times you can't have capital calls. And if you run out of reserves, what's going to happen is you got to stop distributions to investors, and that's the kiss of death.
Right.
Well, you don't want to do that, right? So by the grace of God, we were able to get about $3 million of PPP loan money and
Okay.
then actually get some ERC credits because we were an essential business.
Okay.
And so that floated everything through past COVID. And now we're actually now starting to see this trend starting to go up. So we've already got the tough times behind us. Now the good times are coming.
No, that's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. How about I don't know, maybe just kind of looking, you're touching on this right now, just kind of the broader impact of the economy now and where you see things going, any other trends or things you're seeing economically
Number
or
one, and
real estate wise?
I try to stay, I'm not, obviously, religion and politics are the things you're not supposed to talk
Right.
about.
Yeah.
And I just started with Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So as far as, politics are concerned, we're starting to see the trend of an exodus. It's been happening for a little while now from what I would call the controlled states.
Uh-huh. Right.
And you see them going into the free states. And so as a real estate investor, if you cannot force people out because they can't pay the rent, and yet you still have debt service you have to pay,
Yep.
insurance premiums have doubled, right? You're going to sell what you have in those controlled states you're going to move to a state where you have a little bit more control, right? As a property owner. And that's what we're seeing. We deal with clients all over the country. And so I would define controlled states as California, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Boston. You're having these real estate people are living this place in droves. There's my land shark. Apologize for that.
He's looking good. He's
Even
looking
in
good.
droves. But they're all going to the Floridas, the Texases, the Oklahomas, the Arkansas, the Tennessees, and they're able to buy more real estate in those geographical locations than they're coming out of. The problem now is, though, the poor people that have been living there couldn't even afford to buy the home they live in now.
Yeah.
If they had to. So that's what's going on in the real estate world for us as far as a trend is concerned. So we focus on, even though these markets may be tertiary markets, not MSA type markets. It's still for us as far as a culture is concerned, right? Because everything we do is based on culture.
Yep.
I'm not buying a piece of real estate in some crazy Lulu town, right? That puts my investors at risk.
Right.
That's not happening. So we look at those demographics and what's going on, because legislation at a stroke of a pen can change the risk profile of any type of investment that you couldn't quantify on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So we got to think of those things. So those are the trends that we were actually kind of trying to travel.
Yeah, that's very good. Well, I tell you, you didn't name the state I live in, Minnesota, which is a controlled state in which our governor is trying to run for VP.
Oh,
and people are leaving here.
I didn't know where you were.
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. People are leaving in droves. I have one of my good friends is selling his entire apartment portfolio, $60-70 million, and he's getting just cash it out and moving. Florida, Texas. I mean, just like you said, Minnesota's really bad. Our downtown Minneapolis, talk about buildings going back to the landlord. I mean, just about every office tower downtown Minneapolis is vacant. It's really bad.
I would not even have thought of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Minnesota.
It's been absolutely decimated downtown
Number
Minneapolis.
one, you guys are in stinking freezing weather where you got tunnels. You can't go outside. That's why I don't even think about Minnesota.
I know.
Right? Because I'm not touching that cold. But all of a sudden now you're telling me I don't even pay attention to the other side. I don't really care about the other side.
Yeah, right.
I had no idea the other side was from Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. Well,
he's cheesy anyway.
Well, he got absolutely destroyed in the VP debate.
I know.
Oh my word. Unbelievable. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I try to hide it, but I can't hide it.
Nice. Love it. It's just, we could go on and on about that one.
Yeah. So I got to keep my mouth shut because I've got investors of all. Look, we love all our investors. We love all our investors, regardless of their political views.
Yeah.
My job is to make sure I protect your money, provide you stable income with the potential of appreciation, and that's my absolute goal, no matter what side of the aisle you are.
Right. It's like Michael Jordan. I got people on both sides buying Nikes. I'm just playing basketball.
That's exactly right. I don't even care. So
that's the truth. That's the truth. Well, no, this is awesome. How about our business personally is, executive recruiting, that kind of stuff. How do you identify and attract? I mean, you've brought in your whole family, but beyond that, high performing talent in your organization. How do you identify those people, bring them in and keep them?
Yeah. So I think the culture really drives that, right? Like, here, what I won't do. I won't allow someone to come in because of their high talent quality that could potentially spoil the culture. Because as you get bigger, it's very easy to do, right? I remember I would pray for it with everyone in the morning. Okay, that was when we were 10 people. Okay, now we're 43 people. So how do you gather 43 people in the middle of the day when everyone's to pray? You can't, right? So, but that's okay. But to bring someone in because of talent to change the culture, that's number one thing I won't do. So our philosophy is this. if we hire you and you leave, you weren't meant to be here.
Right.
If we hire you and you stay, thank you, Jesus. You were meant to be here.
Yeah.
So I always say, Lord, thank you for preventing me from getting hurt from the things that I cannot see
Yes.
and shutting that door.
Mm.
Because that person, I could be praying and they could be of a different religion. And they want to pray and it causes problems. That's why we have that employee handbook, right?
Right.
Because that's the foundation. So, as far as great talent is concerned, it's been a little difficult, right? Because like right now, accountants are very difficult to find
Yes.
because the older generation is dying off, and young people don't want to be an accountant. It's like boring, right?
Yeah. Right.
They want to invest in crypto and become a billionaire tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? So that's been a challenge, just because, especially because we have a REIT as well as a real estate investment trust.
Okay.
And we're planning on growing that REIT and taking it, IPO, so it can be a publicly traded entity.
Excellent.
So we had to convert to GAAP accounting, and now we're looking at talent for Sarbanes-Oxley, so that when we do S11 type offerings, and those guys and gals are very difficult to find. But I think right now the team that I have, they're very, very good, and my people who hire those people understand what we look for. And we have to go through hundreds of candidates to find the one that fits our culture, which is the number one job of everyone. They fit the culture first, and everything else is downhill.
Right. I mean, if you make all your decisions on your core values and your culture, hiring, firing, promoting, it makes things a lot easier. It's still hard, but it's crystal clear. It's easy, but
I ain't got no woke, crazy people around here.
Right.
I promise you that.
Right. That'll just it'll destroy you from the inside out so fast.
Yeah. I walk by and I'll go by the conference room, look, they're interviewing, and all I got to do is go,
yeah.
Nope. Walk them out the elevator, big boy. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that.
No, of course not. And it's like people, I mean, it's okay to agree or disagree. And like, that's the beauty of being in America and a free society. You can voice your view. And if people don't agree with it, that's fine.
That's
and they can argue and have a
big deal.
Debate.
But don't spit in my face.
Right.
Because I don't see the way you see things.
Right.
Right.
Because you're not going to do that to them either. I mean, it's
it's not. No, that's not. So it's crazy. And a lot of people come and they want to work here, but it's hard. We got to screen them, and it's very important, man, that the culture remains, because at the end of the day, God gave me this company. This is not my company. It's God's company, period. Mm-hmm. Right. And I'm here as a warrior of the kingdom of God to stink and show people that you can love Jesus. You can have your cake and eat it too. I don't follow a poor God. I follow a rich God. Right. And look, if Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and George Soros can have all these billions of dollars and change the culture of this country, and me being a man of God, why can't I have billions of dollars so that I can buy the media, I can buy the entertainment, I can stink and change the culture?
Right.
Why can't I do that? So that's the mentality here is we are billionaires, and it's like Pinky in the Brain. We're taking over the world.
Yes. Well, someone's got to do it. Why not you? Right.
Right. Oh, no, Jesus, Jesus, the love of money is all. Shut up, man. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil, not money.
Right.
So I'll shut up now because I can keep going.
No, that's amazing. How about now we're kind of on the topic of just free markets? I mean, in what ways is embracing our free market system here in America and capitalism benefited you and the business?
Well, and then that's I'm Puerto Rican, right? I was born in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
If you go to Ancestry DNA, right? I'm 25% European, and I'm like 20% from Congo. Okay.
Interesting.
All right. I'm black. Okay. That's it. And I grew up with food stamps, welfare, government cheese, and powdered milk. My dad left when I was 2 years old. So when I see black people, because look, I'm black, say that the white man kept me down.
Yeah.
It blows my mind because look, I was poor. I got my GED. I don't even have a degree in college. Yet, if you're smart, you're smart. That's the
Yeah.
bottom line. If you're
Hmm.
smart, you're smart. And college is a scam anyway. So if you're smart, you're smart. And at the end of the day, by the grace of God, we are where we are. Was it harder to get here? Maybe. Not saying it wasn't, but we're here. Now, guess what my color is? I'm not black. I'm not white. I'm not yellow. I'm not orange. My color is green.
Yeah.
As long as I've got green, boy, it doesn't matter what color you are, because green talks business.
Uh-huh. And it gives you options.
Oh,
Gives you options.
lots of, just a tool in my belt. We are an answer to prayer. That's it. That's
Mm.
what we are. You got to write a check to be an answer to prayer,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yes, yes. It's, when you think about just like your church or causes that are important to you, and we talked about this in one of my entrepreneurial groups, it's like once you've made it and you have money, people will listen to you, and then you can really make an impact, versus
Yes.
your small donations to the church over the years versus a big, huge one. Well, now
Yes.
people are listening, and now
Oh,
you can
yes.
have influence.
Yes. My wife wrote a book. It's called Prosperity's Not Luck, It's Your Birthright.
Huh.
And she says something very interesting. There are two things that are omnipresent. It's God and money.
Uh-huh.
God is everywhere.
Yes.
So is money. That
Uh-huh.
means money is very spiritual. It
That's
blew my
good.
mind. I was like, wow, girl, that is good. So I run with that thing all the time.
Yes.
So,
You've got a good one. You've got a good one. That's
oh yeah,
amazing.
she's a rock star, boy. She's my road dog.
How long have you guys been married?
29 years.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. God bless you.
Yes,
That's amazing.
29 years, man. I've
Oh,
been married more than half of my life.
that's awesome. And how old are your kids?
I've got a 26-year-old who just gave me my grandson who's a year old.
Oh,
And I got a
amazing.
22-year-old, and then I got a 15-year-old. My
Okay.
15-year-old is my Cabo baby. That was Loops.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about what ways, maybe even outside of business, do you advocate for capitalism or free markets, or just kind of talk about free enterprise, those types of things?
Well, so we own 23 Crowdfunding, but we also own a supplement company, and we also are partners in an exotic car company, right? And so we're always dipping our hands in different marketplaces
Yeah.
for number one, diversity, number
Yeah.
one. Number two, I love cars, right? I'm a car guy.
Uh-huh.
But as far and then, as far as outside activities, what we built a studio in here, right? So I'm in my office, but we have a studio as well.
Uh-huh.
And we started a show. It's called the Ed Fernandez Show.
Awesome.
And that show, we've been doing it for 18 months now, and I think we got like 65 episodes, and it's all about business, but more about the kingdom of God and how you go from a carnal Christian to a spiritual Christian and what it all means. And so, that's what I really do outside of
Yeah.
business, is really study that stuff and kind of share it with all, people outside on YouTube. So, that's what we do.
That's amazing. What a blessing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm
How
writing a
about,
book too. It's called the things I've learned by starting a podcast. My wife's my ghostwriter. She's actually in Montana right now. She went fly fishing.
oh, great.
Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. I don't know what that is, but she was catching fish because she's taking the shows and dictating them and putting them
Okay.
in a book. Right. So
Great.
we're 18 chapters in, so it should be done here pretty soon.
Well, that's exciting. Very good.
Pretty cool.
How about on the car front? Favorite car that you currently own or have owned, or
So I have Ferraris, Porsches, Rolls, Lamborghinis, and I think my number one favorite car are the Porsches,
yeah? Why is that?
hands down. Because I also have two little race cars. They're called Radicals. They're European race cars, and we
Okay.
go to Pahrump. It's a place called Spring Mountain Raceway in Vegas.
Okay.
And when you start racing, you start, using G's and learning how to really truly drive without, there's no ABS, and none of the
Huh.
electronics are teaching you how to drive. So if you turn the wrong way, you're spinning off the track.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to drive and you start comparing all the exotic cars, the Porsches are like a grown man's go-kart.
Okay.
They're just amazing cars, and the engineering from the Germans, hands down to me. I think the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis are, and maybe Paganis and Koenigseggs and Paganis are all flex cars.
Uh-huh.
Like, look at me.
Yeah.
If you're truly a driver and know how to drive, it's the
Yeah.
Porsche, hand down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular Porsche the best? Porsche the best?
They're all different. So
Yeah.
I have a Turbo S, 911 Turbo S. I have a GT2 RS, a GT3 RS, a GT4 RS, and they're all completely different. But if I
Really?
had to pick one, it would be the GT3 RS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why that one?
It's a track car.
Okay.
You can take it on the track, no problem. They got on them, go to jail, because, man, once you drive in that car, you feel like you're on the track. You just go crazy on the highway because you can do everything. It's pretty
Nobody
cool.
can catch you, right?
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
How fun. Are any of your kids, your wife, are they into cars too?
My wife's into cars. She's not like a girly girl. She'll
Uh-huh.
wear man watches,
Yeah.
and she has a Rolls. She has her Urus. She has her GT4 RS. And she's like, why do you like the Porsches? And so one day we were driving, and I was like, honey, I need you to drive the car so we can take it to storage, because we can't park all these cars at home, right? So we
Yeah.
take it to storage. And I'm in the Ferrari and she's in the GT2 RS, and she's going down the street 140 miles per hour.
Dang.
140 miles per hour. And we get at the light. I go, what are you doing? We're going to go to jail. And she's like, I want one. I want one. I want one. So I had to go get her a Porsche. I said, you see, you love it, huh? So I had to go get her a Porsche. So she has the GT4 RS.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. How about maybe back to capitalism? Any like misconceptions that you encounter about capitalism and free markets? And if so, like, how do you address those?
Well, I think the misconception is that, the white man is always the rich man, and the white
Hmm.
man has to pay his fair share. And I think that's a misconception that I don't have to deal with it because I'm brown, right?
Yeah.
I don't deal with that. So shoot, for me, it's an advantage to be brown now, because you have to be brown or no one's going to like you,
Yeah.
right? Like, white people are racist now, and that's such a lie from the pit of hell. But
Right.
as far as misconceptions are concerned, the misconception as far as capitalism is concerned is that a guy like me can't not have the things that this nation can offer.
Right.
I think that's the biggest lie that anyone can actually talk about, is that no matter where you were born, no matter what your race is, you have the same opportunities as anyone else does. And the difference is are you willing to go after it? Are you willing to work hard? And are you willing to put your time in it? Because I had to work for a guy for 14 years first.
Uh-huh.
Right? So the story of Joseph, right? Joseph was
Yeah.
in there for 14 years before he became the second dude of Egypt, right? The most
Right.
powerful kingdom in the world, right? So I had to put 14 years into this before, God elevated me up to where I own my own thing. But, I was faithful with little, right?
Yes.
And now I have to be faithful with much, right? So look, Ed Fernandez didn't sit there and create this whole kingdom on his own. Obviously, it was by the grace of God, but I do have a lot of favor, right? And with God and with man. And just because I'm brown, that doesn't mean I can't have what everyone else can have, which is a huge misconception. So when I'm driving around and I'm going to restaurants, and how you doing, Mr. Fernandez? Normally people in my position, whether you're white, black, Chinese, whatever, are very arrogant and very rude,
Hmm.
right? And very entitled. People get shocked that I don't have two cell phones so my girlfriend can call me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. They're like, married 29 years. I mean, that does not compute. Right.
Uh-huh.
And then when you serve the guy taking your valet car, when you bless the server way above and beyond what's normal, they go,
Yeah.
who are these people? Ooh-wee. It's all about Jesus, baby. That's what it's all about.
Why do you think, and not that everyone hasn't bought into this, but particularly people that are brown, as you would say, have bought into this narrative that because of your skin color, you can't,
I think
you can't, yeah.
it's all the mind. I mean, it our minds are such powerful tools that
Yes.
if you can through propaganda reprogram the mind and actually create the scenario that you're a victim and that you always need pity and that you're always going to be stepped on. I think the anger and the rage creates this scenario in your mind that you are treated unfairly. But it's the renewing of your mind. No, I'm not that person. No,
Yeah.
I do have this opportunity. I just need to work hard. And so part of the organization, I hire kids here in the sales department. None of them have college degrees, except for one. It's my
Uh-huh.
nephew. He's got a college degree.
Uh-huh.
But I take guys from that have been valet guys that have been servers, and I teach them business. And those guys are the better guys than the guys that have been in college for 4 years and have come here all messed up.
Right.
So I refuse to hire people from college.
Mm-hmm.
Just won't do it. I
Yeah.
hire the young guy that's running around sweating in the hot sun to get my car and serve me. I'm like, ooh, I like that guy.
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna give you an opportunity. And as long as they pass the necessary tests, they have a job here. And our job now is to teach them business. And that's how we hire salespeople.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's it's hard to sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I got all these responsibilities because heavy is the head that carries the crown, right?
Yeah.
But shows like this make me really think about what I have and puts a perspective of where I am so that I can appreciate the current state that I'm in, because you're grinding every day and you forget how good God is sometimes and
Mm-hmm.
how good you have it. And then you do a show like this and you start talking and preaching, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that's right. Oh my God, that's right. Right. So
Uh-huh.
thank you, because it actually puts a good perspective back into my mind.
Oh, good. No, well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, you're grinding. We're always focused on the future, and like, it's hard to just take a moment and just reflect on like what's going on and
Yeah.
how you've been blessed, how you're blessing people. Cause it's like,
Yeah.
that's just what you do. And you just
Yeah. Yeah.
having conversations and connecting with people. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. How about just opportunities, trends you see coming down the pike that you're most excited about?
I'm really looking forward to the interest rate environment, number one.
Yes.
And we that have been in real estate have been dealing this for 3 years, almost 4 years now, right? And we've weathered the storm by the grace of God. But I'm really looking forward to transactions starting up because we're in the exchange business. And when interest rates went above the 7% range, exchanges dropped by 60% because no one was doing transactions, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that event occurring. I'm also looking forward to being able to grow our REIT. The goal is $10 billion, so we're doing that now. I'm looking forward to the opportunity with our apps and everything like that, because I do have, I'm not going to name their names, but I do have some little rabbits that I'm chasing right now.
Okay.
Right? You always got to chase a rabbit,
For
right? So
sure.
I'm chasing these guys right now. And so as far as trends are concerned, those are the opportunities that I'm so looking forward to, where the real estate environment gets back to somewhat normacy when transactions can transact and opportunities can be taken advantage of through the debt markets. Because right now we're buying deals all cash
Yeah.
just because of the fact that you have negative leverage, right? You can't do it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to being able to refinance these properties, pull the cash, right, from buying all cash and then going after and cherry pick opportunities with that cash. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
How about with the REIT? Is that all senior housing, or what's the REIT?
It's called the Covenant Senior Housing REIT, right?
Okay.
It's a non-traded REIT, private REIT. And so that REIT is something that we've created for mailbox money, because a lot of the business is transactional. And so I needed to kind of divert our focus into more of a stabilized situation. So we created the REIT,
Okay.
and the REIT is helping stabilize everything. But as we grow the REIT, the focus is senior housing, assisted living, and memory care centers.
Okay.
And so we're buying stabilized assets, we're buying non-stable assets so that we can grow the NAV or the share price, right? But that's the focus of the company. The company is look, I don't want to be known as a 1031 exchange company, even though the name is 1031 crowdfunding. I
Yeah.
want to be known as a financial institution that takes investors that have been misled, misunderstood, and deceived, and show them that somebody can do it the right way and don't have to be greedy and make you money. And that's the goal for this organization.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah. I know I've been doing all the talking, man. I apologize.
No, this is how this goes. It's all of this is really to highlight you and who you are and what you're doing. And um, that's awesome. How
Yeah.
about you've touched on this and weaved it throughout, but just building legacy. How are you working to build like a lasting legacy through, through everything you have going on?
Yeah, my kids, um, it's important that my children understand hard work. Um, they really haven't seen that because they're kind of blessed and I've spoiled them so much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as a legacy is concerned, that's why we're writing these books. We're doing the podcast, and that stuff lives on forever. It's not all about the money, right? The money is important, but it's all about the knowledge. My people perish for the lack of knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
right? And most people don't understand what our purpose is on this earth. And if I could teach you what your purpose is so that you can have purpose, so that you can be joyful, so you can take down opportunities, so that you can teach your children how to make money, then I believe that I've left a legacy that just keeps going, right? And that's the goal of my wife and I, is to teach people that, man, you can love Jesus with everything you have, but boy, you can also have a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, amen to that.
Huh? Yeah, high five. That's what I'm talking about.
How about we'll kind of leave it off with this with success. Like, how do you define success for yourself?
That is I think success for me, uh, as a recovering narcissist, is learning empathy, compassion, understanding, how to speak softly, how to walk in the spirit of God, not in my flesh. To me,
Mm,
that's success. Um, Money comes, it just falls from the sky, man, for real.
uh-huh.
And it's not hard to do. It's not hard. God's been so good and the money just keeps coming. Praise the Lord. But what's important to me is that I don't want the money to define me. I don't want the
Hmm.
money to control me. I don't want the money to change me. So if I can actually learn how to walk as a man of God in the spirit of God, then I know that God can entrust me with the power of wealth that cannot kill me. I will never give the keys to my Ferrari to my son, ever. Why? It's too much power, and I don't trust him with it.
Uh-huh.
So I want my father to say, you know what? Here's the keys to the Ferrari, my son. I trust you with the power. So let's go. And that's my goal.
Oh, that's amazing. Why? Yeah. I tell you, you have blessed me by being on the show today and blessed all of our listeners. This has
Praise
been
God,
fantastic.
man.
Yeah, praise God is
Hallelujah.
right. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ed.
that's so good, man.
It's amazing.
I'm so thankful for being on the show.
No, for sure. And we will for those that want to, learn more about you, the businesses, all the things you have going, and we'll share all this in the show notes. But where can people find you to learn more about 1031 crowdfunding, about the book, podcasts,
Yeah, so you can
REIT?
go to www.1031crowdfunding.com. That's a crowd of people, not a crown on your head. crowdfunding.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about who I am, you can go to the Ed Fernandez Show, or go theedfernandezshow.com, or go to YouTube, The Ed Fernandez Show, and you'll find me there.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Ed, thank you so much. This was an absolute, I was going to say pleasure, but really a blessing. So thank you
Awesome.
very, very much.
You're welcome, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.